Hello, everybody. Welcome to another wellness webinar with Jared and Amanda from Fit to Last.
All right, so today, guys, we're going to be talking about a new topic as suggested by you, which is awesome. 10 tips to overcome stress and feeling overwhelmed.
Yes. So we actually asked some of our Goal Crusher VIP members over the last couple of months some things that they want to hear about, learn about. And one of the comments that we got from one of our members, she says here, she would love to know about some everyday strategies to deal with stress and overwhelm in these ever-changing COVID times. She said that she knows about some big ones like meditation and journaling and things like that, but she was thinking about more strategies that she could use in the moment, like if she was to get some challenging news that triggered her, her day or her week, and little things that she could do in the moment to help her.
How do we instantly react without letting those things totally derail us?
Absolutely. And so we thought that we would talk a little bit more into that today. So whether it can be with things like work or life in general, kids, families, social obligations.
Or even just social anxiety and things like that people are experiencing now.
There's so many times that we can feel overwhelmed and anxious and stressed out. And I think the first thing to remember that it's really important to give yourself grace and compassion that those feelings are normal. They're not things that we have to try and brush off and push through. They actually matter, and they're just as important as when you feel happy and joy. And obviously we know that, at the moment, with things like COVID and the pandemic and lots of things that are happening for people in their own situations around this have made, things like stress and overwhelm even more complicated and difficult to juggle. Alongside all of the other responsibilities that you have as well. So, if this is you, if you are starting to feel overwhelmed, then what we would love to talk a little bit into today is putting a self-care plan together, I guess. And just it can be for those times when things feel a little bit too much. So we came up with our top 10 tips on how you can put a self-care plan together to help you just overcome some of those feelings in the moment.
And of course, this is something to have handy, maybe even take some notes while you're watching this or listening to this, because you want to have these things on hand to help you deal with things. They're not going to change for you straight away. These are things that you want to remember. You sort of need to get into your system, or maybe you need a little list on how to react or how to help you react a little bit better.
Definitely. So do you want to start with tip number one
So let's
today?
go with number one, which is, of course, you're going to take a deep breath and step back. So when you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious about anything that's going on in the world right now or in your life, a quick way to begin to alleviate those feelings is by doing breathing exercises. If the thing that's overwhelming you is in front of you, take a step away from it, create some space and separation between you and whatever is making you feel that way. Deep breathing exercises are a great way to promote relaxation, and they really do help to lower your stress response.
I don't know. Have you ever heard before, like the 3-2-1 method? Yeah. So it's all about just taking in 3 deep breaths, then 2 deep breaths, then 1 deep breath, and it should take you around about 10 seconds to do that. And you're right, like it can help to lower your stress response in that moment.
And it sounds so simple. It sounds almost like just one of those cliches, I guess.
Take a deep breath, but it really does work.
There's a reason why it has become a cliche, because it does work.
Absolutely. Okay, the second one that I popped down on the list, and this is something that I've been practicing a lot of over the last year or so, it was to create a no list. Now, what I mean by that is like protecting your time and your space and setting some boundaries for what you say yes to can help give you a real sense of control over your schedule and the things that you're committing yourself to. So I found that like if I was having a lot of things come up in my life where I just was feeling so overwhelmed about the amount of things that I'd said yes to. So it could have been work-related commitments, client commitments, being available to my inbox all the time, saying yes to so many social events. And then eventually I found I never actually had any breathing space or time to myself. And as a natural introvert, that's actually how I recharge. So I was really struggling with that until I started to be selective about what I was saying yes to. And so, what I'd love to encourage you to do is not have to feel like you have to go to certain things or be available to your inbox all the time or just to always say yes. And to be able to say to yourself that it's okay to replace activities that you don't want to do with something that you actually will enjoy. It's really healthy to have boundaries and kind of crucial to your well being. So, create a no list.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one, because the same thing happens with people in their professional career too. As you say, when you're starting off, you're growing or anything like that, you say yes to every opportunity that comes along, whether it's for the better or for the worse, just to put yourself out there. And you get burnt out very, very quickly from
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah. That's probably something like in the industry you and I work in,
Yeah.
which we've been in for over 10 years now. You do start to
Learn to say no
you learn
very
to,
quickly.
yeah, I think you learn how to determine what's going to be valuable for you to spend time on and what's not.
Yeah, so let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is to ask for help. We've written down from a loved one, but it can be from anyone in your support network. It really can be. So, and that's a really hard thing for people to do. I think a lot of the time is to allow people into that space to actually help you. I know a lot of people in our lives, both of us, do have some trouble asking for help. Even we do sometimes too, is to make yourself vulnerable like that and actually say, hey, I really do need some help with this.
And sometimes it can, like, being conscious of the way that you ask for help as well. If we're a bit stressed and kind of flipping out in the moment, and you might project that overwhelm onto other people, and you might, like, it could be housework, for example, and you might say, you never do anything to help me, and it gets quite heated. Imagine if you could just flip that and say to your loved one, like, hey, I'm really struggling with getting all of the housework done. I was wondering if you could help me with half an hour of this. Can you see, like,
Yeah.
you can see how that sort of changes the narrative and the tone.
It does. But even thinking wider than that too, your social support network is there for you. And that's an interesting thing. Social support network could be your family. It could be your friends. It could literally be the people that you work out with here at Fit to Last as part of our tribe. There are a lot of people here who do use this tribe for reaching out for help from other people. And that's what we're all here for. Use those people to lean on if you need it. You need to just vent sometimes. Maybe you don't need help. You just need to talk it out. You need to vent.
You want someone to listen.
Yeah, that's totally fine too. And yeah, you really need to understand how to do that. So reach out for a friend, virtual chat. I mean, there are so many ways that you can communicate with people these days. Some of us have really good friends with people that we barely even see because of our ability to communicate on Zoom or on Facebook or on whatever it is. That's just as good. Sometimes you just need to do that. Or, pick up the phone if you're that kind of person and actually talk to somebody.
Yeah, actually, I totally agree with that. Next one on my list that I wrote down here is to write it out. Now, I know when we talked a little bit earlier about the person who asked for this topic, she knew a lot about journaling and things like that. I don't necessarily mean journaling. Like, if that's not your thing or you've never tried it before, you don't know where to start, that's totally okay. But I know from personal experience that when you write down what you're feeling and why you're feeling that way, sometimes it can actually just help to alleviate those feelings. And if you do it in an unstructured way, like, you don't really have to know what you're writing. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't even have to be legible. But if you just have like a written stream of conscious feelings, what it helps you to do is express yourself and to get those thoughts out of your mind and out of your heart in a healthy way. And it can feel physically, emotionally, and mentally like a massive relief when you just like get it out of your body.
I do the same thing, but I say it out loud when I'm either driving or something like that. And, I think that's a good thing. It's almost like that Jerry Maguire. Remember the old Tom Cruise movie? The Show Me the Money?
Maybe I'm too young.
You're not too young. You're not that much younger than me.
But please
But
go on.
I'm sure most people listening to this know Jerry Maguire. It's a classic movie, but he did a lot of that. He sang along out loud to Free Fallin' driving in the car just to get it all out of his system. And sometimes that's what you need to do. If you can't write it, say it. Say it out loud. It's just about getting it out of your head.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so number 5 would be to take a short walk or any kind of physical activity. I mean, we all understand that exercise releases endorphins, which makes us feel better. But more than that, sometimes it's really good if you're faced with a stressful situation to get out of that space and do something physical. So for example, if it's a stressful situation you're presented at work, you can take a 5-minute break, perhaps a 10-minute break, get yourself out of that physical space, go for a walk around the block. Take a coworker with you if you can. Talking it out really helps too. If it's something at home, get out of the space that is causing you the stress, get out and enjoy some fresh air and just take a quick, 5-10 minute walk. Doesn't have to be an adventure. It doesn't have to be hitting the gym. But you can do that as well. I mean, if you can get into a different space and jump into one of our online workouts even, or attend one of our classes if it's that time of day, all those things are going to make you feel a lot better. And they're going to allow you to come back with a fresh headspace and assess the situation in a whole different way. But if you can take somebody with you to exercise, even better again, because you can talk it out if you want to, you have that connection, and it really does help put everything into perspective, I think.
It does, especially if you've got some negative energy being built up inside of your body. What exercise does is it actually just helps to move that energy around. So that's the scientific explanation as to why it'll feel much better. So that kind of moves into our next one around visualizing relief. Now, if you can steal away just a few minutes of your time to be able to visualize things like peace and calm, or maybe even do a short guided meditation, anything like that, these are a really good way to restore your peace of mind. They're quite easy to do, and they can really relax you mentally and physically. There's so many apps out there that you can use to help you with guided meditation, or you might like to jump on and do one of our ones in our self-care sessions, or our guided ones, which are really nice and short as well, and just really designed to bring you back to your happy place and feel a little bit calmer in that moment.
Yeah. Now, number 7 in our little list here is to reframe your situation. So sometimes the way we look at a situation, it's the glass half full, glass half empty way of looking at things. One way is going to present the situation in a very bad light and make you feel more stressed about it. If you're very pessimistic, if you only see the bad, the glass half empty, then you're going to feel even more overwhelmed by that situation. So again, even taking into account some of the other things we've said here, like stepping back from the situation, that's going to help you to reframe the way you look at it. Look at the pros and cons of it. Have a really good think when you've removed yourself from the situation. Is it really that big of a deal? Does it need to be stressing you out in the way that it is? Or, is it just something that maybe you're perceiving to be more of a deal than perhaps it should be? And looking at things like that and reframing them can often help you to lower that stress level.
It's interesting when you practice that on a regular basis, how it can become a lot quicker and easier for you to do that in those times, just to be able to assess that and relook at things.
Yeah. And I think to a 7.5 in our list. So not 8, 7.5.
So we're not quite at 8 yet. Okay.
7.5 would be the way you look at things is often, I guess, almost dictated to you by the people you surround yourself with. So if you're at home with a family of people who always see the worst in every little detail in life, then your situation is going to be framed in that light. But if you're always around people who are, making you see it a little bit better, it's harder for you to look at it in a bad way. So that's our 7.5.
That's
bonus.
A whole other sort of topic and conversation we could go into about your circle of influence, for sure. We talk about that so much, don't we? Okay, number 8, back on track. Relaxing your muscles. So actually intentionally relaxing your muscles is a technique where you will so think about this. If you were to tense all of your muscles up and then purposefully release all of your muscle groups one at a time, allowing your body to feel a little bit more relaxed. So just about anybody can do this practice, and you can do it wherever you are, whenever this situation kind of arises. And it will help in a matter of seconds for your body to feel a lot calmer and to be able to handle different situations, because you're intentionally making the effort to relax your body a lot more.
Yeah, a little side note to that too. I don't know if you understand this or not, but when you tense your muscles up, when you really engage them and you hold it like that, your blood pressure goes up. When your blood pressure goes up, your breathing generally elevates as well, which means your heart rate goes up, which means you do tend to feel that's your fight or flight response. That's your, I need to run right now. That's my, everything kicking into high gear. And that's not what you want. When your muscles are relaxed and your breathing can be under control, your blood pressure returns to normal. You're not going to feel as highly strung or as stressed. So that's the science of that, really. Now, the next one is to smell something good. A lot of things in our emotional responses are triggered by smells. Very, very simply, it's like when you smell a food from your childhood, it takes you back to feeling a certain way, or you have that smell of something that happened at Christmas time, and all of a sudden you feel that warmth of, oh, we used to be around the fire together as a family and we did this. It's that kind of thing. So sometimes having a nice scent on standby, whether it's a little like aromatherapy roller, like a little tiny roller stick or something like that you can perhaps put on your wrists and smell, or in a handkerchief or anything like that you can keep near you, that will make you calm down. Things like lavender are particularly good scents for decreasing anxiety and things like that.
Yeah, even candles,
Yeah.
diffusers, room sprays, all those sorts of things. If you're burning them and diffusing them consistently, they do naturally help to lower the stress levels in your body.
Yeah. I've often seen people do it because I fly so much for work. I've seen people have that, like, smell something before takeoff because they get very anxious upon takeoff. So they have something that they can quickly smell to help alleviate some of that stress.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And the last one, it's a pretty simple one, but we've saved it to last for a reason. Drink some water. So, in addition to actually feeling thirsty, dehydration can make you feel tired and dizzy. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, then try drinking a glass of water. Or even better, maybe you want to brew a stress relieving cup of tea or something that, which, works in a few different ways. Obviously, drinking the tea will help you feel a little bit calmer, but it allows you to take a break and step away from whatever's making you feel stressed as well. So go and take a nice drink.
And if you're going to brew tea too, smell it. It's the same thing we just talked about too. Have a good whiff of what's being brewed there before you drink it, and it does help to relax you very, very quickly.
Yeah. So those are our 10 tips to be able to overcome stress and overwhelm in the moment. I know a lot of them seem really sort of simple and like common sense, but when you are heated and in that emotional state, a lot of the time the decisions that we make aren't logical, or our brain function kind of shuts down a little bit.
You can never think straight when you're presented with a stressful situation. So that's why I said having these written down or somewhere close to you might be a good thing. If some of them gel with you, like, okay, if I feel stressed, I'm going to quickly look at the notes on my phone. What can I do? Okay, I can try this.
That's a great idea, putting notes on your phone, actually.
Well, it's the one thing you're never without.
Yeah, so why not? That's a really good idea. So we hope that these were helpful for you today. We'd love to know which ones maybe resonated with you, or which ones you might like to try when you're feeling next kind of overwhelmed and triggered in a situation. That would be great to know. So drop us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. And if you do have any suggestions for upcoming wellness webinars that we are doing, please let us know. We're always interested to know which topics you're loving and you want to hear more about.
Absolutely. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this, and we'll catch you again next time.